Alright, so this is a suggestion via a donation. The name of the video is Willie2024, the internet's resident time traveler. YouTube Unsolved. Let's check it out. I've never encountered this channel before, guys, so let's see.
The internet's always been a place where people can claim things behind empty profile pics, and there's always been a fair share of people who've come up with stories that seriously caught our attention.
Right.
But then there's the ones that don't have such a concrete theory at all behind them, let alone an explanation. One in particular, seemingly so mysterious and unanswered that it was left in the shadows of the internet, nearly forgotten for 10 years. This is the perplexing case of user Willie2024, an actual time traveler on the internet.
I don't know about that, bro.
This is YouTube Unsolved.
Alright, YouTube Unsolved. Hello, Susan.
There has been no shortage of time-traveling claims, as the World Wide Web has offered basically everyone the ability to share anything with anyone else. And this leaves a result of there being almost as many clear debunkable examples as there are stories of Slender Man paying people a visit in real life. It's just one of those things that anyone would really try to put out there just to get views. But today, to say the least, we're dealing with something that's a little bit different.
Bro, what's funny is I saw a DeLorean today.
What did I tell you?
And it should be noted that before we get started, that none of the details of this case have been verified / proven, just as much have they been not verified or disproven. No one really knows what's going on here.
Right.
But it all started in 2008. What is it about 2008 already? On a nice little website called The Something Awful Forums, where a user named Willie2024 would first show himself to the public eye under an independent discussion board. The post was immediately met with confusion by all the rest of the users of the site on that post, and Willie themselves was not shy to engage with all of them. Their first activity was a reply under a question related to worst life experiences, and it went like this. I wouldn't say it's the same for everyone. From when I came from, speaking your mind like that is not really a thing.
From when?
At first glance, it seemed like it was just some kind of continuation to just some random conversation on just a run-of-the-mill type of chat page. But someone later on finally had the urge to ask something in return to the default profile picture user a whole day later. I think you mean where you came from. And from this point on, things became
interesting.
Just about as unexplainable as you could ever imagine anything on the internet being.
Right.
Willie2024, in contrast, only took 1 hour to reply. I guess you're right, but I wasn't really referring to where. I was just mentioning how it was relatively nice to see some discourse take place on a fun and simple place like this compared to, say, 2018, for example. A decade from now as a general ballpark. More likely than not, it wouldn't be different in any location you're from. I came to this site because the particular topic attracted my attention due to my loneliness, and how the worst experience in my life involved in not me getting here, but being stuck here. I'm sorry, but are you saying you are from 2018?
I think that's kind of what he's saying. Or around that ballpark.
I lived through 2018, 19, 24, and 30. Not here, though. However, in respectable terms, essentially the same timeline. I was simply making an example. It was at this point that more users started joining the chat as, predictably, this unexpected turn in the conversation started attracting more attention. Some people started checking Willie2024's profile only to find that they had actually joined the site that day. Of course, the obvious response to this was that of any usual suspected troll. They played along. Nice. I've always wanted to know, Will we finally have hoverboards and flying cars in 2015?
No.
Have you met a guy named Marty McFly?
Well, technically, by 2015, there were prototypes. Nothing put into like mass production, but there were.
Haha.
Examples.
Unfortunately, no to 2 of the above. There are hoverboards, but they're just glorified segways. Is this guy saying he's a time traveler? That's meta.
But wait, what's
I
happening
try
right
to
now?
avoid running into confrontations about this matter, however tempting it is to me, mainly because I technically have a reason to be here that I don't want to get distracted from. Okay. That being said, in short, I guess you can say yes, I am, in fact, a time traveler. So a little bit more information about the posts of Willie2024. All of them, despite being still available to this day, were posted during a time that lots of people described to be the peak of the Something Awful forum's existence. The era that produced the well-known myths and creepypastas such as Slenderman and the likes of which, nonetheless, people randomly going around making the kind of claims as Willie2024 were almost non-existent during this relatively early age. Let's just say people weren't exactly dropping their new car video vlogs all the time talking about their new DeLorean and flux capacitor. So it's almost as if the very thread that birthed this mystery became a creepypasta or cold case in and of itself. And of course, it's starting in the legendarily notorious cursed/scary year of 2008. It's not like we can be surprised. But either way, that was not all Willie had to say in this follow-up.
I don't even remember what I was doing.
But I haven't traveled through time.
2008.
I haven't traveled anywhere physically. I'm a researcher at a privately funded program called IVMRA. It started as a non-profit organization in 2024 as a research program into time-based horizon breaking. Mostly non-experimental until late 2029. I'm sorry if things get too technical, but I have a habit of over-explaining things I'm passionate about. Willie2024 went on to explain himself in a fairly high amount of detail. In summary, they mentioned that they are a part of an organization that managed to break a hole into another dimension, but this dimension was coupled to ours. This way you could avoid fading away into oblivion by causing some kind of paradox.
You fixed the grandfather
Okay,
paradox.
guys, I'm going to jump in this portal now, so that I can go to a different period of time. Whoa. This is the past? I thought it would be more black and white or something. So yeah, you get the point. Willie2024 explained that 2024 was the biggest year in physics because of it leading to a new breakthrough resulting in him assuming gender, ending up in a new universe, 20 years in the past. It wasn't exactly clear what the motive behind Willie was in particular.
Well, this is a little creepy.
We're going to, of course, get to...
I mean, listen, I want more very specific details, though. All right. The last, post that he made, it makes me think that there's something weird. Like, specifically, hoverboards were not as they were.
All the possibilities now, because you know what time it is. The original conversation thread Willie2024 had started talking in had basically entirely converted into just an interview/interrogation of this one user acted out by the whole user base in hopes of just getting to the bottom of the situation. And we're going to get back to that as soon as we start discussing for a little bit the other internet findings of Willie2024's existence, some including YouTube. This being YouTube Unsolved after all. And when all's said and done, it seems that after reviewing all the sources that it's generally reasonable to assume that the perplexing Willie2024 personality was active online within the time period of August 2008 to December of 2010. However, within that time, Willie2024 was actually seen in multiple different places, and their accounts were linked to one another most of the time. Willie2024 on Reddit, going by Willie_2024, made a profuse amount of posts talking about how money was a scam and how it was way too centralized, along with debunking another claim of time travel by a man named John Titter. And he had lots of choice words to say about it. He even dutifully described how every aspect of that account was wrong and how anyone could just be easily debunked by doing a simple carbon-14 blood test. More on that later. But amongst all of this technical gibberish, for lack of a better term, one particular post stands out. In a reply to a modern-day user's...
Bro, if you think that I'm not going to obsess over this for, like, probably a week, you're crazy, guys.
...deleted comment, Willie2024 responded this. Better run, outrun my gun. So yeah, it is known that this was a meme board that this was posted under, but without the original post context, it's hard to come to a complete conclusion about it.
Isn't that a song?
But yes, those are the lyrics to the well-renowned song Pumped Up Kicks, which was released a whole year after this post was even made. Interestingly enough, Willie2024 had a username on YouTube by YouTube/user/Willie2024, where they could be seen often commenting physics and math-related videos. And his YouTube account was linked to Reddit and Something Awful, but he never really seemed to have a habit of mentioning any of the issues in question. It was as if he was literally just a normal person living in our normal world, except for the fact that he accurately predicted the future like 7 times in one single forum post. Which leads us right back to the one in question. And for the sake of this not ending up being like an hour-long movie, I chose the ones that
Bro, I would have been here for the hour-long movie. I am absolutely engaged.
I feel like are the most interesting and relevant. So here are the posts that stand out the most.
Go for it.
So if you are being legit, why don't you just go and invest all your money into some stocks that will do good? Also, could you tell me some? I do not have monetary...
Why are the dates different on these two posts here? Underneath RZ, it says April 17th, 2003. Then above it says August 4th, 2008, guys. That's weird.
Monetary goals. Nor am I trying to screw up this timeline, even if it doesn't affect me. Capital gains are a temporary measure anyway.
Okay.
In my timeline, the United States went into a phosphorus crisis, heavily impacting agriculture, leading to everyone relying on digital assets to hold value. This also led to the country's loss of world power.
Oh!
Please, just one. I'll love you.
Okay. Oh, maybe that was like join date, maybe? Maybe that could be a join date? Because then again, at the top it says, okay, same time, but like almost 2 hours later.
Electric vehicles.
Okay.
I'm not saying I don't believe you, but I don't know why a person from 2030 would be on this site casually talking to us alone. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know anything about your explanation, but why, just now, and on this board, did you start talking? Did you directly come to this year?
Who said he's in this year?
My field of study is both economics and physics, thus the year I chose. I'm currently in the process of studying how digital currency can impact a developed monetary system. In my spare time, I love talking to people as I always have. As you might tell, I have a lot of time to myself here. I just hate when it ends up like this. There's so many people that say they're from the future, bud. I'm not from your future, as I pointed out. People like John Titor are frauds, along with all the rest. Transformational time travel is non-existent. One thing that they would all deny to preserve themselves would be a simple blood test for carbon-14. Nuclear tests introduce an abundance of added C14 into the atmosphere, which can trace the distinct age of any living organism on the basis of its blood. The further away from the 50s you're born, the less you have. So I'm guessing he really doesn't care for John Titor.
Bro.
Who won this election, bro? Enjoy it. Everything after this will be pure chaos. I bet he can go back and meet Albert Einstein or even Jesus, LMAO. What a legend. The current capabilities don't allow it. I would not want to live out a life in a time unfamiliar to myself anyway. IVMRA was briefly working with a different approach years before I worked there, using some of Hawking's work. But after his passing and a major setback due to a pandemic soon after... Wait, what the...
What happened?
It's like... Am I hallucinating? Like, do I need to...
Listen, I am dumbfounded.
Like, when I see this type of stuff, it's...
I'm normally not this quiet. I just want you to know, all right? I am engaged. This is tricky. this is tricky. He's divulging a lot of like super interesting things that obviously feel real because we have all kind of gone through all of these shenanigans, right? He is not wrong, guys. I mean, oh God, guys.
It's like, just how?
I know. We're here.
We never finished it. Is anything from BTTF, Back to the Future, true? Yes. We definitely haven't gotten any smarter.
Okay.
How, if you figured out how to time travel, lol. The info was always there. It just took someone to find it.
Okay.
Well, this happened to be the very last post that Willie2024 would ever make in this particular thread. So as you can tell, there's a lot to take away from all of this. And naturally, it most certainly has and will continue to stir up very polarizing opinions on the matter, of which I have a lot myself. The last activity of any confirmable account owned by the real Willie2024 was a YouTube comment on December 13, 2010 on, out of anything else, the YouTube Rewind, or Year in Review, simply saying, very entertaining. So, not sure what to say about that. It would have been hilarious if he had actually predicted the future of YouTube Rewind as a last statement. And after this, multiple attempts at trying to impersonate the real Willie2024 started happening, most particularly in 2014, when one most notable example happened when someone decided to pretend that they were Willie2024 and make a "I'm back" post, but it was immediately debunked because they couldn't even spell the username right. But obviously, other than this, there wasn't much talk about this mystery for a very, very long time. And years started going by. It just happened to be that almost every single thing started going down the exact way this Willie guy said.
Right.
Which freaks me out a little bit. Theory number 1. It's all an elaborate hoax.
Okay.
How?
I'm there.
Let me tell you.
I don't know
in 2014,
that could have been a thing.
Of course, some guy by the name of Tenacious brought forth what at first seemed to be completely damning evidence that Willie2024 was not only not from the future, but actually made up by one of the Something Awful forum owners in order to get attention for the site. Okay. And it certainly worked. And the screenshot seemed to show Willie2024's account being renamed back to the head moderator. So that's it. Case closed. That's all there is to it.
Bro, don't do this to me, all right? Listen, I'm going to tell you, you're absolutely amazing at telling stories, all right? I'm sure this is how you've been able to kind of, stir up the following you have. I appreciate the fact that you are this good, all right? You sucked me in. I believed you. But again, this is only theory 1. I'm sure there will be multiple. But as of right now, if that's the factual statement, then...
But not really.
Okay.
Man, how long is this video already? The picture was later proven to be entirely photoshopped in an attempt to get back at some of the moderators of the site for some reason that we don't care about.
Right.
Either way, it was fake. Does that prove that Willie2024 wasn't?
No.
Obviously not.
Okay. Would have passed.
But either way, that leads us to theory number 2. It's real.
Okay.
And yes, I am going to just be making it that black and white. Deal with it. It would kind of make sense that at the very least, whoever running the Willie2024 account wholeheartedly believed in what he was saying and just happened to be entirely coincidentally correct. It's not like this Willie guy was just going around flaunting his time traveling skills. It actually seemed that with all available evidence, he didn't even like talking about it. And if they were going to go through the trouble of making up all of these details in this crazy story just to not even feel like talking about it or actually being upset just to even talk about it to anyone, then it didn't really add up that much. So what's the main takeaway here?
Go ahead.
Thank God he did not say there was going to be an Among Us 2.
What?
And also that there's a guy named Willie from 2030 who comments on YouTube Rewind videos and could very well be watching this video right now. Hi, Willie? I guess we'll just have to wait until 2030 to find out. So that is the internet's resident time traveler who's also on YouTube, therefore YouTube Unsolved. And this is YouTube Unsolved Season 3, Episode 8. I appreciate you for watching this This is one of the most perplexing mysteries we ever had on YouTube Unsolved, and I don't say that to everyone. You can come to your own conclusion on the matter of Willie2024, but I personally enjoyed this mystery. Thanks for watching this episode. Make sure you go down and check out the YouTube Unsolved and the Tech Realm merch in the description. I hope you enjoy the rest of your spooktacular day. My name is Dallas, aka Infernus. Goodbye.
All right, guys, so listen, my overall opinion is there could be a way to kind of deduce that based off of what the world has been doing, I would say, for the last 20 years, that some type of worldwide illness could occur, right? Just think about that for a second, based off of population, based off of, like, you know, where food is and things like that, where people get their food from, food shortages based off of population. You could, and so people have to then go out to start introducing food to their diets that generally is not going to be normal. You could pretty much guess that there's probably going to be another one, right? I'm just going to be honest, based off of all of what I just said. But now, would someone in 2008, could they have done that? Again, probably, right? I'm just going to be honest. I would say probably in another 20 years it's going to happen again, unfortunately, right? Just based, until we can figure out a way to like sustainably feed the masses in large quantities and cheaply, right? And, you know, in ways that are not going to negatively affect the planet. We're going to still, it's just going to keep happening. It's probably going to pop up in another place, and, you know, at some time, right? Mark my words, right? Maybe I'm Willie2024, guys, right? But either way, now, I guess he found a way to somehow utilize the Einstein-Rosen bridge. I don't know, guys, all right? Guys, I think that it's plausible that someone with enough intelligence could probably come up with this story, and there'll be enough people to believe him based off of him kind of overly detailing things. But keep in mind, there's always something interesting about people telling the truths and versus someone who tends not to be. The people who tend not to tell the truth always have to over-explain their overall point, right? A lot of the times, at least. Specifically when someone is explaining, you know, trying to explain themselves and make people believe. It did seem like in a lot of these responses that he really didn't want to tell people things, but yet he was telling randoms all of this extremely graphic detail. And the only reason why he could is because in the beginning of this video, the guy had stated he had somehow figured out how to completely disregard the grandfather paradox because he is not actually in this very specific timeline. But obviously his parallel universe is so close. He found one of the only parallel universes that are almost identical to almost the T. Right? He somehow forecasted us losing Hawkins and then a global sickness, let's call it, because we're not going to use the P word, guys. It's extremely intriguing. Theory 1 is basically, gone to me. I don't really think that's a thing. But theory 2 is extremely intriguing. But not really, because I think that he probably just was, or he or she, right? They, let's say, they were extreme. Willie? No, he. Either way, I think that he very specifically was just intelligent enough to come up with this. That's where I'm at, guys. Interesting how he says it's really good that people can still have the ability to have a discourse because from where I'm from, right? We can't talk to each other. That's extremely accurate. Unfortunately, people with like polar opposite views on life cannot sit down and have a conversation. It's absolutely silly without just yelling and just nonsense. This was 2008, and honestly, the 90s was probably the end of the ability to just speak. Different sides, sit down, have conversations. It's similar to who did it? There was like a preacher from Kansas, I think, and Bill Nye, guys, right? Two different opinions being able to have conversations without divulging into like literally chaos, guys. Right? But right, listen. Let me know in the comments your overall opinion. Is he telling the truth? Like, did this guy exist or did he not exist? Was this all made up for the sake of just internet creepypasta-ness, guys? And keep in mind that also at the same time, he said a Slender Man came from the same overall era. I don't know. It could be creepypasta, guys. It could be. But all right, listen. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day and enjoy your day thoroughly.